Alright, so I was just doing a bit of research into the Great Fires in the past, and I was just looking at some of the absolutely breathtaking architecture, some of these so-called post offices. Anyway, I came across this here, and looks like a news article. So this was a news article from 1893. So that means that this here was already built. You're telling me that this so-called post office, in quotes, was already built. To think that they spent the time and resources and money to build something like this. Look at the size of the people. This photograph was taken in 1906, which is very interesting because that so happens to be the exact year that the Great Fire ravaged Baltimore and unfortunately destroyed a lot of the architecture, including this here post office. Look at this monument out the front. Of course they went and put their little flag there, you know, just to let everyone know that we built this. Look at the background, the foreground here. There's nothing else. Nothing else that can even come close in architectural design. And yet they want us to believe that they somehow constructed this in the 1890s or whatever it said. These are the buildings that they would have constructed. These sorts of buildings they found. And that's exactly where the term founded originated. Here's another view of the so-called post office. Just an absolute beauty. And here you can even see the tram lines, all electric. So don't be fooled into thinking electric vehicles are something new. No. I mean, look, they've even got street lights, dude. They've got street lights. This is 1905, 1906, okay? And they have street lights. They have electrical lines. They have electric powered trams to get people around. That is why you don't see any horse and buggies. Just the odd codger standing about. I spot something over here, which is rather large. But all these awnings, I believe they added them after the fact. I believe that. But the actual building itself, no way, Jose. There's just absolutely no way that they arrived in the Americas and just built all of this. In such a ridiculously short time. Look at the sculpting here. This is not American, guys. They're going to build an American building with Aquaman naked and put things like this, two little babies doing something there. It just doesn't make sense. The post offices back then would have been one room like this with maybe two men working in it, and it's a complete mess. There's packages everywhere. There's no order. They're just everywhere, man. So why on earth would they build all of this when all they needed was one little room? You could come up to the door, knock knock, and get your mail. This is interesting. Look at this. Got a spire. See, all of these buildings had these on top, but they were taken down after the fact, see? They all had these spires, and the theory is it was to harness the ether. Well, now we call it 0-point energy. Now let's count these columns. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Dude, what? Hold on a second. The photo I'm about to show you was taken in Berlin in 1855. Now, this is extremely important because at this time, Germany as a country hadn't even yet been established. 1855, okay? So remember that number. And just before we check this out, let me just show you something else. The first power tool generally considered available to the public was the electric drill, invented by C&E Fien in Germany in 1895. While steam-powered machines preceded this, the early 20th century saw the development of electric power tools and the increased accessibility of models like Black & Decker's pistol grip electric drill introduced in 1916. So this isn't even when the building was built. This is simply when the photo was taken in 1855. Yet they didn't even have power tools until 40 years later. Just check this out. Absolutely incredible. Look at this work. The craftsmanship is just on another level. Now remember, this is in Berlin, before Germany was even Germany. Now let's count how many pillars are on these buildings. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Okay, what about this one? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So we have the same architecture in Germany as we do in America. And this is by no means a surprise. This architecture is seen all over the world. This so-called Roman architecture, if you will, with the 6 columns. Every single one. You want to see the advanced civilization that built these buildings 40 years before the power tool was even invented? Let's have a look. There they are. That's the advanced civilization that crafted these glorious feats of engineering. Just men with horses and carriages, moving giant columns and crafting statues with laser precision. Nothing to see here, folks. World War I and World War II are not what we think they were actually about. There was a underlining agenda at play, and a lot of people just simply won't know about it. Even more so now, because the people that were around at that time, they're long gone. So unless they manage to preserve some writing through a family member or whatnot, who knows what actually truly happened. But I just want to show you. So as you can see here, this is just complete disaster after a Nazi bombing raid in some part of Europe, I believe. Actually, no. This is not the result of a bombing raid during World War I or World War II. This here, folks, is the aftermath of a fire. Yeah, that's right. A fire apparently disintegrated concrete. And that's not all, folks. Now, I might be reaching a bit here, but is it just me? Or does that look like a nuclear explosion? Just me? Alright, what about the next one? So pictured here is apparently just a ton of people rushing out of Chicago as a great fire is sweeping over the city. One thing that I do find very strange, though, is this debris we see here in the top left corner. Now, why would that be there? I don't see any... Oh, okay, now... Oh, right, alright, I can see some smoke here, I think. Yes, right, we've got some smoke here. Got a bit of smoke here. This bit here looks like it's already been leveled. There's no roof. There's no fire in this vicinity by the looks. That there is very suspicious, but it gets even stranger. Now, you could say, yeah, that's a whole bunch of smoke, and, you know, that's an incredibly insane fire. And, yeah, I agree, that does look like a whole bunch of smoke. But, again, what is up with this debris? As if a bomb had just been dropped on this location. And what is up with the people being so close? Surely someone would have told them, hey, there's a massive fire just absolutely leveling the city. You should probably get out. Very suspicious, man. And I admit, that does look like a giant heap of smoke. But look here. Look at this debris. Look at this debris. The stuff's been flung from the left. Look. It's been flung from the left. Why has this been flattened? If the fire's coming from this direction, as the smoke suggests, why is this all flattened? Why is there rubble all here? And our last photo of Chicago after the supposed Great Fire. Just absolutely insane. And I'm already spotting some really strange oddities, man. We got bits of debris flinging all over the place here. But also, check this out. We've got a whole piece of concrete or brick literally lifted. Now, I don't blame people for just accepting the narrative that a great fire did this, right? But I do blame people who know better, who have actually done their research, who know what a bombed area looks like. And let me just show you. Alright, so this here is Germany after a bombing raid. And as you can see, just absolute destruction. I'm lying again. That's from a fire, apparently. But that is actually Germany after a bombing raid. Bombing, fire. Bombing, fire. Now I found this very strange. So this was taken after the so-called Great Fire in Chicago. But why is it that these men are just standing around with rifles? Your whole city has just been flattened by just a natural fire, naturally occurring fire. So wouldn't you be out helping others? Pulling people out from under the rubble or something or other? It's almost as if they knew that they had been attacked and now they're on high alert. I don't know. I could be crazy. I probably am crazy. I don't know anything. So I'm going to give you two more photos before I wrap this up. This here is, I think, Berlin after a massive bombing strike by the US, I believe. Just absolute devastation, man. Look what it's done. Just blowing the tops off the buildings, blowing the blimmin' walls down. I'm lying again. This is no joke. This is Chicago.
Wrong.
This was from an apparent fire. It blows my mind. Where are the so-called burn marks from this fire? Where's the? This is the only little bit of dark, black-looking stuff I can see in this whole damn photo. This is all rubble, man. This looks like a earthquake hit, and then another country decided to drop bombs. This, in my opinion, shows little to no evidence of an actual fire. Now, I just clicked that I didn't actually explain my theory as to why I believe the World War I and World War II wars had a hidden underlining agenda. Actually, let me just show you. So, Baltimore, Maryland, had a great fire as well. I'm sorry, I could have actually been showing you previous photos of Maryland, Baltimore. They had an insane so-called fire as well. And I noticed this really stuck out to me. Extremely beautiful architecture. So I thought to myself, hey, what did it look like before the 1906 fire? And let me show you an illustration. Keep the post office in mind. This was there before the fire. And after the fire, it was gone. So that is apparently what Baltimore looked like before the fire. This architecture is something else, man. Considering the fact that the fire was in 1906, these buildings would have had to have been erected maybe in, well, according to their timeline, in the mid-1800s, maybe. But I believe they were built far earlier than they claim to have been. And looky here. Electric tram. Packed up with people. No fossil fuels. No pollution. Just an electric tram. The late 1800s. And they're cruising around in electric trams. Oh wow, and I just spotted spires. Look at this in the background here. All over the show. This is old world architecture. And that is what I believe they were trying to eradicate during the wars. But more on that in the next video. God bless.